The first thing we'll do in positioning a reel on the 555 is place the front roller in the roller brackets. You can see my reel shaft positioned relative to the grinding shaft, and we want the reel shaft at approximately a 1 o'clock position. So we use the adjustment handles for the front roller adjustment, and we can take it in until we're at approximately the 1 o'clock position. Doesn't have to be exact. So here you can see the initial positioning of the reel. Now I'm going to place the rear bracket under the roller, and we're going to take a look at clearances for our relief angle, because if you have clearance for the relief, you'll always have clearance for the spin grind. After we've initially positioned the reel at about a 1 o'clock position relative to the reel shaft, I'd like to point out some parts on the relief assembly before we actually set the angle. We've got the fixed finger, we've got the spring-loaded finger, and if you look, there are two handles on the left side here. This smaller handle, once you loosen, it generates the gap between the stone and the fixed finger. And this gap setting needs to be at approximately 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch. The spring-loaded finger has an adjuster back behind the assembly, and this controls the forward throw of the spring-loaded index finger. So this adjusts the gap, and then this bit larger handle allows the assembly to rotate out. After we've positioned the reel at about a 1 o'clock position, we allow the fixed finger to assembly to drop out of position. We bring the stone over till we're just on the edge of the blade, and we physically pull the blade into the stone. And if you watch the positioning of the angle, the way the blade is resting on the stone, we're looking at three different things. We're looking at this angle, we're looking at the blade above the one we would be relieving, and we're also looking for the clearance with the stone and the front roller. So if I look at my angle and I want less relief angle, then by lowering my in-feed hand wheel, you can see that we significantly change the angle. We also give our blade above more clearance. So what I'm looking for is approximately about a 25-degree relief angle. Once I determine an angle that I like, I rotate the fixed finger up and lock it into position. Once we've determined our angle and we've set the fixed finger, we lower the grinding head, get the relief stone out of the way, and now we can go ahead and clamp the front roller. Now we're ready to use the gauge. Once we've set our relief angle and clamped things in, we use the digital gauge, and we align the reel shaft to the tooling bar, set to 0. And make a minor adjustment to 0, tighten the knob, come back for one last check. Lock the knob. Now we come to the tip of the blade, set to 0. There's a roll pin. on the tip of the gauge. And measure each side. And we're at 4 thousandths. There's a chart in the book that will tell you how much more to infeed on the larger side of the reel than the small side, but this is a very easy process. Okay, once you get through spin grinding, you move the spin stone out of position, you bring the relief stone over, and you trap the blade between the stone and the fixed finger. And you want to leave the spring-loaded finger off of the reel blade. So right now, I just want to bring it up tight enough where I'm snugging up. And now I'm going to physically push the spring-loaded finger back and force the grinding head over a little bit more, until my spring-loaded finger is just behind the reel blade. At this point, I'm going to make an adjustment to my spring-loaded finger till you have about a 16th to a 30 seconds free play behind the reel blade. At this point, all you're going to do is bring the stone just off the blade and position your proximity switch to control your travel here. You can downfeed just a touch and bring the stone across to the other side. And set your proximity switch on the right side to where the stone is barely off the blade, but the blade stays on the spring-loaded index finger.